Hey, welcome to the Ankeny podcast. Today I have Jenner White, who is the director of I-9 Sports for the Des Moines area. My daughters are both in soccer and they were in basketball. They've done one season of basketball and 3 seasons of soccer. And I kind of wanted to talk to him about some of the opportunities that he has for kiddos in town and let you guys know about him as well. So welcome to the Ankeny podcast, Jenner.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me out here this morning. I'm glad to join your podcast.
Okay, cool. So let's start off with your leadership road, or kind of how you decided to be part of I-9, what made you decide to use the franchise model, and then how you're helping kiddos throughout the Des Moines area.
Yeah, with I-9's sports philosophies, we're really big on 3 fundamentals of the business, and that is fun, sportsmanship, and convenience. And so you look at those 3 components of the fun factor and sportsmanship that we bring to the table. That was something I was very passionate about when I learned about I-9 Sports, because I know that there's a lot of other sport leagues that is all about competition or all about winning at all costs. And this is an alternative option where kids can just show up and have fun playing different sports. They can try new sports because we offer basketball, football, soccer, baseball. We're just going to release lacrosse this fall. So we give a lot of different options out to parents. And so what really attracted me as an employee was expanding the company here in Des Moines of that philosophy of just kids having fun on the fields as well as learning good sportsmanship. So with all of our leagues, we really preach sportsmanship with life lessons being taught at the fields, such as respect, fairness, sharing, courage. Those are all things we teach to the kids each and every week, in addition to the X's and O's of the game. So, based on those philosophies, that's what really drew me to I-9 Sports. I think that's why a lot of parents in the community have really gravitated towards I-9 Sports.
Okay, well, let's start with fun. Before I-9, my daughters tried soccer, and it was an absolute disaster. I was one of those parents that had to pull my daughter off it was the floor, it was inside, and she was just crying. She didn't get a chance. They were kind of all following the ball, and it really, maybe it was a little too early. I want to say they were 4 or just a little over 4. Tell me a little bit about how you decide when a child is ready to start playing in these kind of sports.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. Parents come into the league with all different sorts of expectations, right? They don't know whether their child's going to score 5 goals at the age of 3, or if they're not, or if they're going to cry on the sidelines and not be ready for the game. And so, with that, that's really something that we try our best when we have our coaches meetings with our coaches or our referees with our staff, is that we try to really emphasize inclusiveness. So where our coaches know that we want all the kids to have an equal opportunity kicking the ball, equal opportunity throwing in the ball, so that way everyone's getting chances and exposure to different positions. So with that, we've had some parents that have had to work their child in slowly, especially at the younger ages that we start off at 3 and 4, as well as we've also had some parents that have had to bump up divisions because their kid is more advanced than they thought. So especially at those younger ages, it's tough to see when they're ready. But the good thing about I-9 Sports is that that we don't really pressure kids into having to perform because of that fun atmosphere that we bring, that everyone gets to play. There's no tryouts or drafts. So really everyone gets to play in equal playing time, and that really helps kids get acclimated into the season from the beginning of the season to the end. And that's when we see major improvements, is that week 1 to week 6, sometimes it's night and day difference for most kids in our program.
Yeah, let me talk about basketball first, because it was night and day. You're completely dependent on the number of people that sign up, and unfortunately not enough girls had signed up at the age that my kids were at, so we had 3 girls on our team, and very early on, one of them got it, and one of them really didn't, and I want to talk about the one that didn't. I want to talk about maybe practice and what expectations we have for practice. We would actually come to Trail Point here at DMAC, and we would practice basketball twice a week. And, each week she would keep trying, didn't score, keep trying, didn't score. But then in the very last game, just right out of the box, she scores. And it was just like, what just happened? What just happened? But that score came from practicing 2 days a week for 8 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever it was. Can you tell me a little bit about what a child at that age should be practicing and how much, and how to kind of conduct that practice so it doesn't feel like work?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is when the child wants to practice. I get that question a lot of what rims should we be practicing on, what height, and how often should we practice? And my answer to that is if your child wants to practice, then they can practice. But, one thing about I-9 Sports that we don't want to pressure kids. We don't want to make them do things they don't want to do or don't feel comfortable with. But you're absolutely right. The more practice they can do in the backyards. One thing our instructors and our refs teach is, the more exposure you can get to dribbling the ball or shooting the ball, the better. And so lots of times at that young age is just learning how to dribble the ball and look up and pass to your teammates. The simple fundamentals of the game become very important at that young age. And you're absolutely right. And then there kind of is that 1 week where it just kind of the switch flips and they score. And it's that huge gratifying moment for these parents that finally see that, and it feels great. And then once those kids get that confidence that they've done it once, or they've scored once, or they've had that really good assist, they kind of can the ball rolls from there, and it's a great feeling for the parents. It's a great experience for the coaches and for everyone involved to, once your team can kind of cross that bridge of scoring once.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the way that the rules are kind of set differently than what we would see in, NBA or even college, where there's no stealing, for example, at certain ages, and then we have these kind of colored bands so they can match up and learn how to match up and have a responsibility. So can you talk about how the rules are a little bit different for that age to make it age appropriate?
Yes, that's a very good question, especially with the age appropriate. So before each season, me and my staff, we all get together and we discuss each age division and what makes the most sense for the rules for each age division. And so that's a huge topic that we all put our heads together before each season. And so for basketball, you're absolutely right. For those 4 and 5 year old divisions, even up to 6 and 7, we don't allow any stealing off the pass or dribble. So that really allows kids to dribble the ball without having to feel like someone's going to steal the ball, or that pressure from the full court. We don't allow people to cross half court at the defense. So we really try to make the game as easy as possible for kids for each age, that way we can set them up for the most success offensively and defensively. So things like lowering the rim heights to 8 feet so that way the kids can shoot it and make the hoop. No defense past half court, no stealing off the pass and dribble. And like you said, we actually line up the kids before each quarter to do matchups on height. And so with that, we give the kids color coding wristbands. So if the person standing across from me is wearing a yellow wristband and I'm wearing a yellow wristband, now it makes the kids makes it really easy for the kids to understand who they are guarding. And so we really try to gauge the rules based on age appropriateness for the kids.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about volunteering and the parents' role. So on the website, part of it is you don't have to volunteer, and that's fine. But really, I found that in basketball, we actually had 3 coaches, and that actually came out to be much, much better than to have one head coach or to one head coach and an assistant, because we were able to kind of talk through it. If somebody didn't make it, the responsibility wasn't just theirs. My wife was helping, just saying, okay, well, she'll set up snacks, and then I'll do part of the coaching, and we kind of made it a team thing, and it was really engaging. Can you talk about some of the benefits of volunteering to be a coach? Because it's not about, I've coached so my kid plays, it's equal time regardless of who your kid is, and what kind of benefits you get from volunteering to coach, even though it's not a requirement.
Yeah, that's a good question. We are a volunteer-based league, and so with that, that's also one of the challenges of our business is finding volunteer coaches. But the one thing that we have found is once we do find volunteer coaches, they typically come back and volunteer coach because the experience was so great for them, because they had a positive experience on not only their kids' life, but their kids' friends and their teams. And with that type of gratification that the coaches get, they typically come back another season and voluntarily coach as the head coach that next season, is what we have found lots of times. And so with that, the importance that we have found with our volunteer coaches is why we really like having volunteer coaches is that tie that they have to their kid. So if you have a professional coach or a paid coach, their only tie to the team is so far. It's about they're doing it as a job. Where volunteer coaches, they're doing it because they want to be out there with their kids, and they want to do it because in their heart they know it's the best thing for their kid and for their teams. And that is the tie, that connection between the volunteer coach, which is a parent, and the team is really what makes that connection great, is because they're just not a paid coach just to be there because they have to be there. They're there because they want to be there and make a positive influence on every one of the kids. And you've been a great coach for us, Tony, because like you mentioned, you have now played in the spring season of soccer, and now we've had people request you back for the summer. That's cool. What it's all about, is now that you've had that impact on your team, now we've had, I believe I want to say 4 or 5 kids on your team that are coming back this summer that requested you as a coach. And so that's great, and that's what we love to see.
Yeah, thanks. I'm kind of blushing there. That's pretty cool. No, I just one of the kids came up to me. He's like, "Thanks for being my coach," and I was like, "Oh, it just kind of hits you in the heart." It's like, "Wow, that was really cool." And then he said, "Hey, we're going to have you. We wanted to have you on the team, so the kiddos can play together." And what I want to talk about is that I think a lot of people might worry about coaching because of their experience. And I coach basketball, and I never played past 8th grade. I don't think I've scored more than 12 points in my life when I was a kid, so I wasn't a good basketball player. And then with soccer, my dad coached, but I played 4th, 5th, and 6th grade soccer, but I don't think I've ever scored a goal. So I'm not trying to say I'm an incompetent coach. I understand coaching, but can you talk about just kind of taking that barrier away that you have to have experience as a coach versus just being enthusiastic and being there for your kids?
That's the biggest question we get when it comes to what does it take to become a volunteer coach? And my answer to that is very simple. If you've never played the game of soccer or basketball or football, whatever the sport you're wanting to coach, we try to make it as simple as possible for our coaches with I9 Sports. So with that, we email practice plans to you weekly. So that way, if you're not sure what drills to do with the kids or what practice or what some of the skill sets are, we even provide video drills for the coaches that they can now see videos emailed to them each and every week that go through what the skill sets are that you can go with your team. And so really, like I said, with our concept and our philosophy of I9 Sports, really, if you can be a great role model, be enthusiastic, and be a good motivator, the rest is pretty simple, because we try to make coaches' lives as simple as possible, from opening day to final day, with rosters being available to you. We provide play cards for all the coaches, and then as well as coaches' meetings before the season that we go over all the rules. I email practice plans, like I said, every week. So with that, you don't need to be an ex-college player or a semi-professional player to coach. It's really a positive impact you can make on your team, and if you can make kids feel special and make kids feel wanted, and that you're there for them each week, that's really what sticks with kids more than if you know the game or not. So, and as you know, with soccer, we do provide a soccer instructor there each week. So we have staff members on site that if coaches need some help, we're usually there for you each and every week to make sure that coaches have the resources necessary to become successful coaches.
Okay. So I know what's going on in Ankeny, just with the soccer and basketball, but can you actually go through all of the opportunities or all the places that I9 is? Because I just know Faith Baptist Bible and Ankeny Christian are the 2 places that we've played, but you have many, many different places. So can you go through maybe by, is it better by age or by area? Either way.
By area. So, we've grown into a lot of areas of play. So like you mentioned, for Ankeny, our home bases typically have been Faith Baptist Bible College and Ankeny Christian Academy. We are very popular out in the western suburbs as well, in Waukee, West Des Moines, and Johnston and Clive as well. So those have all branched out kind of year after year as we've gotten more demand kind of in the western suburbs. Johnston was a new area play that we released last fall. So we're kind of all around the metro, because we want to offer convenience to parents. We want to make sure that they don't have to drive any more than 10, 12 minutes to get to their game, because we know with our convenience being a priority, with practice held right before the game, that parents don't have a lot of time on the weekends, right? You got multiple kids, they're always on the go. So that's why we're always tapping into new areas of play, so we can have convenient options for the parents to choose from. And so that's why we're kind of all around the the suburbs of Des Moines to give parents more options. And we typically offer multiple sports at each venue, so that way parents can still try new sports each and every weekend in the different areas that we offer.
Can you talk about the sports that you offer and then what genders are available in each sport?
Yeah, so all of our programs are co-ed, so all boys and girls will be mixed together in all of our sports. And then we offer baseball, basketball, soccer, and football, and that's flag football. And then we're also releasing lacrosse this fall as a new sport. And something that was a big hit for us last year was indoor soccer, as we did an indoor soccer that was new, as well as an all-girls basketball division. So, like I said, 95% of our programs are co-ed, but we do offer some specific divisions that are gender-specific, like that all-girls basketball division, just due to popular demand that we've been requested from our parents. So, yeah, those are the different sports that we offer.
Cool. Well, I've asked you a bunch of questions. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that maybe you'd like to talk about? Not really in particular. I think we covered a lot of ground, and I appreciate you kind of sharing your testimony with us, because that kind of validates, we've kind of had a success story from you, and this is what I want to share with other coaches and other parents in the community that are looking for a great option for youth sports in the Des Moines area, where they don't have to spend time traveling, or they don't have to spend Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday doing practices and running around. I-9 Sports is that great option where it's convenient, it's fun for your kids, and they will learn a lot with skill development and sportsmanship. So, having you have me on here has been great to represent that. Great. And Jenner, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is at i9sports.com, and then you can type in your zip code from there, or you can email us at leagueoffice213@i9sports.com. Our phone number locally as well as 515-987-4750.
Great. Thanks for being on the Ankeny podcast.
Yep. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it.
Support for this episode comes from the audiobook Memorizing Pharmacology, a relaxed approach. With over 9,000 sales in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, it's the go-to resource to ease the pharmacology challenge. Available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon.com, in print, ebook, and audiobook.